Hello and welcome to your channel Wellbeing at My Age. It's a pleasure to have you here. In this space, we talk about health, longevity, and simple natural habits that help you maintain physical, mental, and emotional balance. In today's video, I want to share something truly important, something that can transform your daily well-being. Today on Wellbeing at My Age, we're discussing the silent habit that damages your nerves and increases the risk of neuropathy. Have you ever felt persistent tingling? That burning sensation in your feet or hands that gets worse at night? Or a numbness that makes you feel as if certain parts of your body no longer belong to you? Millions of older adults live with these symptoms, assuming they're just part of aging. But speaking from experience, in my own practice I've seen how many lives are affected by silent enemies hiding in medicine cabinets and in daily routines people repeat without questioning. Today, I want to explain what may be attacking your nervous system without you realizing it, and most importantly, how to stop it before the damage progresses. I'm Dr. Gabriel Mina, a physician with more than 25 years of experience, and I invite you to stay with me, because this information can make a significant difference in your health. Before pointing to the main culprits, it's important to understand what we're trying to protect. Imagine your nervous system as the electrical network of a large city. Your nerves are the cables that transmit messages from the brain and spinal cord to every part of your body. They tell your muscles when to move, allow you to feel heat or cold, and keep your organs functioning without conscious effort. These cables aren't exposed, they're covered by a protective layer called the myelin sheath. Thanks to this coating, electrical signals travel quickly and accurately. So, what happens in neuropathy? Those cables begin to deteriorate. When the myelin wears down or the nerve becomes damaged, communication fails. It's like a frayed wire causing a short circuit. The signal becomes distorted, slows down, or in some cases doesn't transmit at all. That's when those uncomfortable sensations appear: tingling, burning, sharp pain, numbness. It's like tiny electrical sparks misfiring inside a system that's no longer working properly. Weakness in the legs that makes climbing stairs difficult, loss of balance that turns a simple walk into a challenge, or that strange feeling of walking on cushions. All these symptoms indicate that your internal network is failing. And the most alarming part isn't just the discomfort, it's the loss of independence, the inability to enjoy simple activities, the sleepless nights, the isolation, and the feeling of being trapped in your own body. At this point, I want to briefly share the case of Marta, a 67-year-old patient I treated a few months ago. She came in with unbearable tingling in her feet that had been worsening for over a year. She was convinced it was normal for her age. But when we reviewed her routine, we discovered that she was unknowingly taking one of the medications most harmful to her nerves every single day. Adjusting her treatment completely changed her quality of life. That kind of transformation is possible, and it's one of the reasons I'm here today. Since we're talking about prevention and health, I also want to remind you that this channel uploads new content every day. If what you're hearing is helping you, I invite you to subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video with someone who might need it. Your support allows me to keep providing clear and reliable information. Now let's look at the first major aggressor, one that often goes unnoticed: your own medicine cabinet. We tend to see medications as allies, and many times they are. They help control illness, relieve pain, and allow us to maintain a stable life. But there is an important detail, especially for older adults. A drug that helps you in one way may be harming you in another without you realizing it. As the years go by, the kidneys and liver, your body's natural filters, become slower. This means medications take longer to clear, they accumulate, and their side effects increase, including those that can be toxic to your nerves. A dose that was appropriate at 50 can be too strong at 70. So let's look together inside that medicine cabinet and calmly review the groups of medications that require the most attention. 1. Anticonvulsants and neuropathic pain medications. Here we face a difficult cycle. Drugs like gabapentin or pregabalin are often prescribed to relieve nerve pain, and at first they may offer significant relief. But recent studies are raising concerns, especially about long-term use in older adults. These drugs, known as gabapentinoids, work by quieting nerves that are sending pain signals. The problem is that, in order to achieve this, They interfere with essential processes in the brain. It's like trying to put out a small kitchen fire by flooding the entire neighborhood. Yes, the fire goes out, but the collateral damage can be enormous. Recent scientific evidence shows a concerning link between long-term use of these medications and a higher risk of cognitive decline. Many long-term users report difficulty remembering simple things, trouble concentrating, and a constant feeling of mental fog. Dizziness, drowsiness, and loss of balance are also very common side effects, increasing the risk of falls and fractures, one of the greatest threats to independence in older adults. Older anticonvulsants like carbamazepine or phenytoin also carry a well-documented risk of causing irreversible peripheral neuropathy when used for long periods. What begins as a temporary solution for pain can, over the years, become the cause of deeper nerve damage. These medications are not harmless. They are not pills that can be taken casually. They require caution, monitoring, and awareness. 1.2. Benzodiazepines, anxiety medications, and sleeping pills. This is one of the most commonly prescribed groups of drugs and, at the same time, one of the most dangerous for older adults. Medications such as diazepam, lorazepam, alprazolam, and sleep aids like zolpidem are frequently given to manage anxiety or insomnia. And yes, in the short term they may seem almost miraculous. They calm you down, relax the body, and help you fall asleep. But the price you pay for that rest is very high. Benzodiazepines work like a switch that slows down the activity of the entire nervous system. Everything becomes slower, more subdued, and this affects not only anxiety, but also your mental clarity. Long-term use of these medications is strongly linked to memory loss, confusion, and even episodes of delirium in older adults. They also significantly increase the risk of falls and fractures, in some studies by 40 to 50%, because they impair coordination and reaction time. But the most alarming part is the silent, cumulative brain damage that is not noticeable right away. In older adults, these drugs stay in the body much longer. Each dose builds upon the previous one, creating a constant state of sedation that can easily be mistaken for normal aging, when in reality it is a toxic effect of the medication. To make things even worse, they create strong dependence. The body adapts, and when someone tries to stop taking them, withdrawal symptoms appear, creating the false impression that the pill is necessary to feel normal, when in reality the pill is causing the problem. I once treated a 72-year-old patient, Mr. Ernesto, who had been taking benzodiazepines for almost 10 years to help him sleep. He came to my office worried because he felt his memory was fading away. After reviewing his medical history and adjusting his treatment, his mental clarity improved remarkably. Cases like his are more common than you might think. 1.3. Tricyclic antidepressants and older antihistamines. Here we find another well-known group. Medications like amitriptyline, often used for chronic pain, and traditional antihistamines like diphenhydramine, found in many cold remedies, share a common mechanism: their strong anticholinergic effect. To put it simply, the cholinergic system works like the brain's accelerator for essential processes such as memory and learning. These drugs, however, act as if they were pressing the brake. Yes, the most visible side effects are dry mouth or blurred vision. But the most dangerous effects are the ones you cannot immediately see: confusion, disorientation, and significant memory impairment. Many studies have shown that long-term use of these medications is associated with a considerable increase in the risk of developing dementia. The problem is that many people take them without knowing the danger, sometimes treating them as simple allergy pills, unaware that they are introducing a substance that may harm the brain. 1.4. Certain antibiotics and other medications. And the list goes on. There are other medications we must carefully consider. Some antibiotics, such as metronidazole or nitrofurantoin, can be directly toxic to the nerves when used for prolonged periods, causing neuropathy. The same is true for certain heart medications like amiodarone, as well as several chemotherapy drugs, widely known for their high neurotoxicity. I want to make something very clear. The purpose of this explanation is not for you to throw away your medications. That would be extremely dangerous. My goal is to help you become an informed patient, someone who actively participates in their own care. If this information makes you feel uneasy, that is a good sign. It means your body is telling you that it is time to take action. The first step is always to talk to your doctor. But before we discuss the action plan, we need to address the second major saboteur, one that is even more present in our daily lives. The second saboteur, your daily habits. If medications represent hidden risks in your medicine cabinet, bad habits are the uninvited guests we allow into our table and living room every single day. They are so common that we often ignore them completely, yet they can be just as damaging to your nerves. 2.1. Sugar, the sweet and silent thief. Let's be clear, excessive sugar is one of the direct enemies of your nervous system. The most devastating example is seen in poorly controlled diabetes. Diabetic neuropathy is the most common complication of this disease, affecting up to half of all patients. But how does this damage actually happen? Imagine your nerves as thin, delicate threads, and the blood that nourishes them as a clear river flowing without obstacles. When sugar levels stay high for long periods, a state known as hyperglycemia, that river begins to thicken until it resembles hot syrup. That toxic syrup circulates around the nerves nonstop. This process is known as glycation. In simple terms, sugar molecules attach themselves to the proteins and fats that make up the nerves and their protective coating, the myelin sheath. This metabolic glue distorts their structure and prevents them from receiving the oxygen and nutrients they need to survive. It is as if the nerve begins to slowly suffocate. The damage almost always begins in the longest nerves, the ones that reach down to the feet. That is why the first signs usually include tingling, pinpricks, or numbness in the toes. Over time, this damage moves upward, affecting the legs and, in many cases, the hands as well. It is a slow, silent, but devastating process that can end in severe loss of sensation, chronic wounds that do not heal, and even amputations. And you do not need a formal diagnosis of diabetes for this to happen. A diet high in sugar and refined flours keeps the body in a constant state of inflammation. That inflammation acts like a low, persistent fire that slowly damages the delicate structure of your nerves day after day. I remember a patient, Marta, 68 years old, who came to my office because she felt as if she were walking on foam. She had no idea how much sugar she was actually consuming through small daily indulgences. Once we identified the cause and completely adjusted her diet, her sensitivity began to improve. The change surprised her so much that she still mentions it every time she returns for a checkup. 2.2. Alcohol, a neurotoxin disguised as social pleasure. Alcohol is a true neurotoxin. There is no debate. Every drink, every beer, has a direct impact on nerve cells. When you consume alcohol, it quickly reaches the brain and reduces neuronal activity, which at first creates a false sense of relaxation. But with frequent consumption, that effect stops being pleasant and becomes a constant attack. Alcohol and its metabolites damage the membranes of neurons and disrupt the way they communicate with each other. As if that were not enough, alcohol drastically depletes essential vitamins needed for nerve health, especially thiamine or vitamin B1. A lack of thiamine can trigger severe neuropathy, characterized by burning pain in the feet and hands, muscle weakness, and loss of reflexes. And the damage does not stop there. Alcohol also reduces brain volume. MRI studies show that even moderate but continuous drinking can lead to measurable decreases in brain mass. That popular belief that a glass a day is healthy is a myth that ignores the neurological damage taking place. 2.3. The silent deficiency of vitamins and minerals. Nerves do not function by magic. They need a constant supply of specific nutrients to stay healthy and repair themselves. When these nutrients are missing, the body's electrical network begins to fail. The B vitamins play a starring role in nerve health. Vitamin B12 is essential for maintaining myelin, the insulating layer that protects each nerve. Without B12, this protective covering deteriorates and leaves the nerves exposed. Deficiency is extremely common in older adults, and its symptoms, tingling, balance problems, confusion, are often mistaken for normal aging. Vitamin B1, or thiamine, is the fuel nerves rely on. Without it, they cannot produce enough energy to function and gradually deteriorate. Vitamin B6 and folate, or B9, are necessary for producing neurotransmitters and repairing neuronal DNA. Magnesium, often called the relaxation mineral, helps calm an overloaded nervous system and is essential for proper nerve activity. A diet built around ultra-processed foods is the perfect recipe for these deficiencies and, with them, the development of neuropathy. At this point, Andrea, it is a good moment to remind viewers that if this content is helping them, they can subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and share this video. We post new health videos every day, step by step, so no one arrives late to this information. 2.4. Sedentary lifestyle. When lack of movement weakens your nerves. The human body is designed to move. Movement pushes blood and oxygen toward the most distant nerve endings, such as those in the feet. But when we spend hours on the couch or in a chair, circulation decreases. That river that nourishes your nerves becomes stagnant. The nerves, especially those in the legs, begin to lose the vital flow they need. They are not damaged by a chemical attack, but by neglect. In addition, physical activity stimulates the production of factors that promote nerve growth and repair, true fertilizers for neurons. If you do not move, you deprive them of that essential boost. Moving your body is not a luxury. It is a necessity to keep your nerves alive. The third saboteur, invisible environmental toxins. We have already talked about the toxins we choose and the ones that come from our habits. Now we need to examine the ones in our environment that we often do not even notice. Heavy metals accumulate in the body over the years. Older adults have had decades to absorb them, and one of their preferred places to settle is the nervous system. 3.1. Lead, the toxic legacy of the past. Lead is a powerful neurotoxin. Although its use has decreased over the years, it is still found in many older homes, old plumbing systems, and contaminated soil. Continuous exposure, even at low levels, is linked to neuropathy, memory loss, and cognitive decline. 3.2. Mercury, the hidden risk on your plate. The main source of mercury exposure is contaminated fish. Large predatory fish, such as bluefin tuna, swordfish, and shark, accumulate high concentrations in their bodies. Mercury can cross the brain's protective barrier and cause tremors, poor coordination, and peripheral neuropathy. 3.3. Aluminum, a metal under suspicion. Aluminum is everywhere: cookware, aluminum foil, antacids, deodorants. Although its direct connection to conditions such as Alzheimer's disease is still being researched, we do know that it can trigger oxidative stress and affect the nervous system. Daily exposure to certain components of the modern diet has been clearly associated with brain deterioration. And while we cannot always avoid them completely, reducing that toxic load is a very wise decision. There is another group of substances many people are unaware of: arsenic and other environmental metals. Arsenic, for example, can seep into well water and is also found in foods like rice. Continuous exposure to this metal is one of the most common causes of severe and painful neuropathy. The real challenge appears when we remember that we are rarely exposed to just one toxin. It is the accumulated effect over a lifetime that ultimately weakens the nervous system. And now that we recognize the main aggressors, it is time to learn how to identify the signals the body sends. We now enter what I call the symptom map, the way your nerves ask for help. The body is wise. It does not complain without reason. When nerves begin to deteriorate, they send very clear warnings, but we often blame them on aging. It is time to listen. Do you recognize any of these sensations? Tingling, pinpricks, or the feeling of wearing an invisible glove or sock on your hands or feet? This is usually the first warning sign. Burning pain or electric shock, like sensations in the feet, often worse at night. Muscle weakness, the feeling that your legs do not respond well, difficulty getting up from a chair or climbing stairs. This means the motor nerves are already affected. Loss of balance. If you need to look at your feet to know where you are stepping, the communication between your nerves and your brain is failing, greatly increasing the risk of falls. Brain fog, word-finding problems, or lack of mental clarity. This is not a normal consequence of aging. It often indicates nervous system toxicity. Mood changes. When the nervous system is inflamed, it keeps you in a constant alert state. Irritability, anxiety, or sadness often accompany this process. Sleep problems and persistent fatigue. Nighttime pain, cramps, or discomfort that prevents rest eventually lead to deep exhaustion that cannot be restored by simply sleeping more. If you recognized several of these symptoms, please do not ignore them. They are not normal. They are your body asking for attention. The good news is that you can do a lot to protect your nerves and slow down the damage. I want to share a brief story. A few years ago, I treated a patient named Luz Marina. She came to my office convinced that her age was causing the tingling in her feet and her unsteady walking. After reviewing her medical history and adjusting a few habits, her symptoms began to improve within weeks. That is, when she realized it was not age. It was her body sending signals she had ignored for too long. Many of my patients see themselves reflected in her story. Before we continue, if this content is helping you better understand your health, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and share this video with someone who needs it. We upload new content every day focused on health, prevention, and wellness. Now, let's move on to your rescue plan. My goal is not to scare you, but to give you clear tools. Nerve damage is not an inevitable destiny. You can stop its progression and, in many cases, even improve the symptoms if you act now. The first step in this plan is what I call a conscious review of your medicine cabinet. You are the manager of your own health. And the first thing you must know is this: never stop a medication on your own, because it can be very dangerous. Scheduling an appointment exclusively to review your medications is ideal. Bring a complete list of everything you take: prescription drugs, over-the-counter products, supplements, everything. And ask direct questions without hesitation. For example, I've read that medications like gabapentin may pose risks for older adults. Do I still need to take it? Is there a safer alternative for my anxiety, insomnia, or pain? Can we try a lower dose to see if I can still feel well with less risk? Are all these medications compatible with each other? Believe me, a good doctor always appreciates an informed patient. The goal is to use the lowest effective dose, for the shortest necessary time, and only when truly indispensable. The second step of this plan is building a nutritional shield. Your nerves also need nourishment, and what you feed them can help them recover or continue to deteriorate. The objective is twofold: remove inflammatory foods and fuel your body with the nutrients your nerves need to repair themselves. This is why I recommend minimizing sugars and refined flours, white bread, pastries, sodas, boxed juices, industrial vegetable oils like corn, sunflower, or soybean oils, ultra-processed foods, ready-to-heat meals, and packaged snacks. Fill your plate with green vegetables such as spinach and Swiss chard. They are rich in magnesium and folate. Include healthy fats like avocado, extra virgin olive oil, and olives. Add foods that provide B vitamins, high-quality meats, eggs, small fish such as sardines or anchovies, as well as legumes and nuts. And don't forget to ask your doctor if you need a B-complex supplement, especially vitamin B12. Add antioxidants, berries like blueberries or blackberries, and anti-inflammatory spices such as turmeric with black pepper and ginger. And remember something I often say: movement works like a natural medicine. You don't need to run long distances to activate your circulation, just keep your body moving. Walking for 30 minutes a day is simple and truly effective. Practices like Tai Chi or gentle yoga strengthen balance, coordination, and the connection between your mind and body. Swimming or water activities are also excellent options. The water protects your joints and helps you move freely. Regular movement not only improves circulation, it also stimulates the release of natural pain relievers that reduce stress. Turning your home into a small sanctuary also reduces your exposure to toxins. While we can't isolate ourselves from the world, we can make smarter choices. Filter your water to reduce heavy metals, check the condition of your pans, and get rid of any with damaged Teflon. Choose stainless steel, iron, or glass cookware. Prefer small fish like sardines or mackerel, and leave options like bluefin tuna or swordfish for occasional consumption. Read the labels on your personal care products and choose more natural cosmetics and deodorants. And remember to ventilate your home every day. Every small action helps lower the toxic load your body faces. I want you to remember this: your future is literally in your hands. Today we uncovered those silent enemies that may be hiding in your kitchen, your plate, and even inside your home. We explored how seemingly harmless elements can damage one of the most delicate and valuable systems in your body, your nervous system. But beyond any warning, I want you to hold on to a message of hope. Nerve damage is not a life sentence, nor is it simply a part of aging. In many cases, it's the result of exposures that you now understand and can start avoiding today. The information you have now is a powerful tool. It allows you to question, choose, and transform. You decide what to discuss with your doctor. You choose what goes on your plate. You decide to get up and move. Recovering your nerve health is not a sprint. It's a process that requires consistency. But every healthy decision, every nutrient-rich meal, every step counts. Each choice brings you closer to less pain and closer to a life with more energy, independence, and joy. Not long ago, I treated a patient named Clara. She arrived with constant leg pain and a tingling sensation that prevented her from sleeping. She believed nothing could be done. With small changes, improving her diet, walking daily, and reducing toxins at home, she began regaining sensitivity and mobility within a few weeks. And her smile, when she finally slept through the night again, reminded me that it is never too late to heal. If this content has helped you understand what is happening in your body, I encourage you not to keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs it. We upload new videos every day to help you care for your health naturally. Subscribe and activate notifications so you don't miss any of these tools. Before we finish, I want to invite you to something deeper. Let's thank God for life, for the opportunity to learn, and for the ability to transform our well-being. Always remember that your body has an extraordinary ability to heal when you give it the chance. Take care of it, protect it, and never underestimate the power you have to change your own future.